Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Today is episode 154. We are coloring shelves this week in the Small Victories coloring book. I call this my daily color. I color every day for around 45 minutes. I went ahead and grabbed some metallic silver and a gold, the Uniball, Signo, to use for today's shelf, but I also need to finish yesterday's shelf, which I just need a little tiny bit of gold for this wall hanging. I do get to practice with glass again. I have a different tactic in mind since this is a practice page for me to practice shadows and highlights. All right, so I see a little bit. The first set of shelves I'm going to play with today, and it might be the only set, is Arrtx. I have the 126, I believe is what the size is. I have picked out a bunch of colors. I am going to start with a color called Cloud Blue. I will have all of the numbers up on the description. These numbers here are very difficult for me to read. I believe it is 2011. I'll do the best I can, but worst case, I'll at least be able to read the color names. So I'm going to do a cloud blue on the wall behind the shelf. I picked a very soft color and I want to color the background as part of my exercise of playing with those two glass jars. I am coloring all the way through as if the jars are not there, but the paint brushes and the stick that the star is on, those are going to be in front of the wall, so I am not coloring through those elements. I did, after finishing filming, decide to go a little bit darker on the tan color of the wall or the shelf on the left. And I had already stopped filming at that point. So thank you for joining me today, and welcome back if you are returning. I have a variety of colors picked out, but I do not actually have a definitive plan for this particular shelf. I just know that I am going to try a little bit different tactic for coloring the glass. Just for fun. And then I also do still have my Gellyroll white. For highlights, and then I picked out one of the middle grays from the Arrtx set. Arrtx, this is one of my sets I actually enjoy. Though honestly I like all pencils, but these are right up there in my favorites list. The issue that I have with them, which many of the budget pencils have, is the color of the barrels. And so I do, when I know the barrels aren't a good match, I make sure that I have my swatches out and handy. I also noticed today that looking through the swatches themselves, there aren't a lot of oranges with this set. And so I may be pausing, and I'll be right back. All right, hub is settled, so I'm ready to continue on with my background here. The cloud blue wall. All right, so the next color, I'm going to grab the white, and this is the Arrtx white 0001. That I can actually see. And I'm going to block in a little bit of white highlight. Okay, so there's that. Now I have just a whole bunch of colors. I'm going to sharpen. I have a couple of pencils. So the sharpening that you get from the factory on these is it's kind of a stubby, not very long point. So now I'm going to sharpen this, and you can see what my jar length sharpener does. These are a fairly hefty core, so that is how long it gets when it's sharpened. I did try to do 2 colors to get some shading going and blending, and these are definitely, True Blue is the lighter blue, Cerulean Blue, of which these numbers are not something I'm going to be able to read. So we'll be starting with the lighter blue, which is called True Blue, and I'm going to color this balloon. And then I'm also going to start adding a little color to this top. I see one problem. I was telling everybody, I told you guys that I was going to have the light source be in the middle of each of the 2 shelves, but notice how the top has shaded lines. So I will have to ignore those lines. I didn't even think about adding any highlights to the balloons. So I will have to add that after the fact. And I think I may add, so I'm trying something here. I am adding a highlight on the front balloon. This back balloon doesn't get the highlight. I might go ahead and do a little erasing, and I will replicate it if I want to at the end. These are a lovely, somewhat buttery feeling, but a little bit on the drier side, though not as dry actually as the luminance feel. These are a little bit more on the buttery side. Okay, gonna set the blues down. I'm just gonna grab this, it's because it is right next to the blues. This is beige, and I can read that, 3003. I'm going to make the star stick be a beige color, and I even want the shelf to be beige. I picked beige because I think that Arrtx has a beautiful beige colored pencil, and there are many sets that do not have this color. It's one of the unique colors that I like from the Arrtx color range. I have now burnt ochre, of which I cannot read the number. This color is actually for the paintbrushes. I don't know, I personally would have rather wanted colored pencils instead of paintbrushes. I'm just going to go ahead and use this brown. I do not have a darker brown than this. I might pull out a darker brown at another time. And I'm gonna have to grab that darker blue. And this is the background blue, just to lighten up that left side a little bit. I have now got one more that I need to sharpen. This is the other body of the balloon. I was telling you that the oranges, there aren't many. And these are like the two true oranges that I see. I'm going to start with the lighter of the two, and it is yellowed orange, and I cannot read that number. So what I'm going to have happen here, I might need to erase that little tiny bit of blue that's in the orange, but you can see that as I color, where I drew the white line is resisting. So it is showing me the highlight on the balloon to remind me that that is my highlight, and I will come back later after this is all colored in. It should resist putting the color over the top for the, we're going to see, I've got some, you know, my gold and silver pens, and we will see if that will resist in that area where I put the line. The darker orange is pale vermilion, and I cannot read that number. Too small. I am going to put another color on the top. Is it for these oranges. Now I have a red that needs a sharpen. And then I have the brighter red. Let's show you what we've got. Perylene violet, and then crimson red. I cannot read either of those numbers. And then I want to talk about the barrels. I have my red swatch here. So you see the crimson red as clearly darker than the perylene violet. However, on my swatch sheet, which I will show you, it is the opposite. So this is where you have to be really careful. Up here is the perylene violet, and here is my barrel color. And the crimson red is very much the lighter color, but the barrel is way darker. So these two have to be reversed when I use them. So that is why I do my swatches, so that I know. All right, so the crimson is the lighter of the two, and that is what I am going to color the mini circus tent first. These are a very quiet pencil to color with. Very enjoyable. These are very small images, but I enjoy adding some light to dark blending. Okay, back to the crimson red. All right, one circus tent colored. I believe I am going to hold off on that flag till the end, and I will decide what color to use. I now am going to, I grabbed one parrot green. Cannot read that number. It says it's a parrot green, but it's really like an aqua green. And I have a couple of small elements to color, so I'm going to give this a quick sharpen. Next color. This is really not a heavy coloring image. The purple ultramarine violet, I want to have one of these paintbrush tips. And then two triangles. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do this purple on the bottom of the top. And use white. I set my white. Here it is. Okay. I am going to use the lighter red. See, I keep wanting to grab the lighter red, but this darker barrel is the crimson red. And I'm going to do this brush. I like to try to choose elements in threes for the various colors as much as possible. I'm going to grab a gray now. This is 50% warm gray, and I can't quite read that number either. It is going to be my shadow color. And then I will also be using this for the inside of the tent, which is a mystery color. I might even come back with a darker gray than this. Let's get a little shadow behind the balloons. The star is going to be gold. All right, just a couple more elements we have to put some color on. I haven't even figured out what to make this little napkin bit. All right, I have one more paintbrush tip. I was going to have them all be neutral colored, but it's just more fun to actually have them be a color. The next bit I do have one more tone. I'll just use the brighter blue. This is the darker of the two. And I think I'm going to go ahead, this is the cerulean blue, and make the flag be blue. And it will have pardon me. This is the wall blue color. Just use it to blend out and cover all of the tooth of the paper. Okay, I have to decide what color that is going to be, and you know what it really needs to be? It needs to be red. All right, so starting with the crimson, which is actually the lighter of the two, the scallops will stay white. This is now the darker red. Just added more of my highlight blue, white. And then I'm coming in here Alright, let's see now if this works. If my master plan actually works. I have already added the extra little white right here. I got pretty good resist. The blue, when I tried to put the blue over the white, it resisted and just colored on either side, so that works. And then I have my, this is a Gellyroll 10. Let's see if we can, I think I would prefer the Gellyroll white, 8. Okay, so this is the 8. I'm going to have a little scratch paper. Yep, to make sure it's started. And here we go. All right, and then I'm leaving these the back sides shadowed. And then brightening up this reflection area right here. And right here. All right, there's my jar attempt. I think that looks just fine. I don't want to overdo it. I want to soften this brown, and I actually want to see if I can find a darker brown fairly quickly. I've got my case right here. I'm gonna grab dark brown. So let's just see how this works. And then we have some metallic accents. All right, now I have not put on my metallics. I've got silver and gold. Starting with gold. silver. These tassels are silver. I'm going to make the spinner part of the top silver, and then all right, so now we're going to see about this. And since it's resistant, I have a different marker that's the acrylic marker that I will use. Let us see if I can be successful at this. This is the Artistro white markers. Acrylic, you have to prime them. I can see this one's my oldest one, I can tell. Oops. It might even be out. I have a second one though. Okay, so setting that aside. We are at our time limit. Okay, let's see if this will work. I think that is going to finish up. I can't really put that on there. All right, so that is shelf number 4 finished. Tomorrow is going to be shelf 5. It is the castle shelf with a rainbow. And that set of pencils is going to be my Color 180 black barrels, the ones that come in the red tin with the deer on it. So then the last one will be Pablo's, and I'm not sure if I can speed things up and do 2. I'm trying to take my time and not rush them since I'm working on my shadows and highlights. So I'm just not going to rush it, and it will probably take 2 more days. And it might be that this will be my day, just 1 page completed for this week. So do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and consider subscribing. And I will see you all here tomorrow.